You're tuning in to Past Our Prime,
a show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
33, Past Our Prime.
Do you say send it?
Send it?
Like that's like the thing, like the skier thing and like the snowboarder thing. Like send it.
I don't know what you're sending.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
No, so yes, to answer your question, no, I don't say send it.
Do you say that, Max?
Max is got a pretty cool jersey right now.
I don't
He's
understand
going old school.
what Max is doing right now. He's wearing a zip-up baseball jersey.
I don't, and it's
Just lying around.
Just lying around.
I went to the gym before this, and it was in the back of the car.
It's a number 20 from the Phillies, Mike Schmidt.
Yeah.
Throwback or just fake?
It's a fake throwback, actually.
Okay.
It's one of those knockoff ones that
Okay.
He likes
got from
jerseys.
China.
Max.
So I heard an
maybe we should
interesting-
start taking pictures of Max's jerseys.
I think
that
we
he
should
wears
because he's getting
every
aggressive
day.
with his shirt game. I heard an interesting stat the other day. I was in Chicago for a few days at a wedding. I went to a White Sox game.
Did you get noticed?
Oh, we had primers everywhere at the wedding. We had people coming up to us. Were like, "Hey, listen to the pod. Great pod. Great pod. Can I get a picture?" No, I'm just kidding. Not the picture, but we do have people that listen because we know them.
I hope these people are the people you don't know and are just coming up to you because they recognize you. But
It's people that you don't talk to all the time that are like, "Hey, I listen. Like, I love it. It's great."
Okay.
That's fun to hear.
that is fun to hear.
Yeah, it's really fun to hear. So I did learn when I went to the White Sox game, by the way, that I guess it's not new anymore. It's probably 10 years old. The stadium, like retrofit from the old, like.
Comiskey?
Yeah, that place was dump. But Guaranteed Rate Field is beautiful now. Great place. Great place to watch a game.
Have you been to Wrigley?
Oh, yeah.
I have not been.
Our friend Ryan Reed, his debut was at Wrigley. I flew out there and saw it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun seeing that. Wrigley's cool. Seats are tight. Tiny little seats there.
They can't be
Old
tighter
school
than
stadium.
Fenway, though.
No, I mean, those two.
Especially when you get a pole in the way.
Oh, yeah,
That's really how you experience Fenway.
But I will tell you, the White Sox fans go nuts. Because they're in first place. They're good. It was fun to watch. They had like 4 home runs, so it was fireworks. I think I grabbed like 12 tickets.
Who were they
I
playing?
brought some people. The Astros.
Did you make a call for tickets?
I didn't make a call.
No.
I almost did.
Where you
and then the other thing that I have in my wallet is this American Baseball American Baseball Players Association card. So the Players Association, it can use it, and you can show up at the window at will call, and if there's players' seats available still, home and away, that you get a number of tickets allotted. You can use those tickets. They can give you other tickets. Like there's some things there. It doesn't work all the time, but it does. Like it absolutely does work. We have tons of guys in that network that use it. We got there though, and will call was close because we got there in the 4th inning, so wasn't able to do that. But we were sitting up in the bleeds. That was the only place I could get 9 tickets together.
Yeah,
but it was beautiful, beautiful stadium. I did learn that the White Sox at one point wore shorts for their uniform.
When? In like
I think it was
1910?
like in the 80s. No, it was in like the 80s.
They wore short. No, wait a minute. In the 80s, they wore shorts.
Max, look it up.
I
The
don't-
White Sox
I actually don't
baseball
believe- I don't-
shorts uniform.
I actually don't believe you.
So, and figure out what year that was. They wore actual shorts, not pants, for on the baseball field for their uniform. And by the way, I do love. Look at that.
Oh my
Max just
God.
pulled up a picture. Black
They did.
shorts.
Was it just for one game?
No, it was for a season.
A whole season?
Yeah. Look at that. What year is that, Max? Does it say? We're going to post a picture. That's unbelievable.
That's
Beer League
unbelievable.
softball.
No
Beer
kidding.
League softball, Chicago White Sox.
Oh, that's
whatever year that is. Max can't find it. So, I did learn that, though. It was amazing. To hear
Speaking
that.
of baseball, we have Steve Kent, former pitcher.
Yep.
Coming on the program
We
today.
hope. He hasn't approved yet. So,
Maybe.
You never know. We might have to scrub this part, Max. But we're battling through Central Eastern time zone situations right now, which I dealt with the entire time in Chicago. Because Indiana, we went to Indiana where the venue was Indiana.
Yep.
And it was very close to the line.
Yep.
And most people are coming from Central, but not quite in Eastern. But some people were coming from Eastern, not quite in Central. I was in a mind pickle for 4 days of like, where are we? What time is it? What time is the actual wedding? Is it in Central Time, really? It was a constant battle.
Yeah, but if you drive like a block, you're in one time zone. Yeah, that's the same way. When we used to play, go out to South Bend, Indiana for playing Notre Dame, it was either we flew into a place and it was Central, and then you go to South Bend and it's different, or whatever it was, Central or Eastern. It was the opposite way when you get to South Bend. So when you get to the hotel, it was always like, okay, we're on this time now. Set your clocks the right way so you're not
nuts.
late for the buses in the morning.
I left my watch on Eastern Time. My Movado 800 series Tom Brady edition has the 12 on the inside. I sent you a picture of it because I haven't worn it that often.
And the sunglasses too.
I had the sunglasses on. Oof, just looking sharp. So I kept it on Eastern Time just because I was just lost. I was like, okay, I'm going to pretend that we're backwards the whole time. And it worked out. We ended up being at everything on time. The girls were flower girls. So that was, we actually had to like be responsible for that. The wedding, by the way, went from, the reception started at 5:30. So like, the reception started at 5:30. Cocktail hour started at 5:30. The wedding was at like 5.
Seems like a
normal
good time.
Friday. Guess what time it went till? What time do like weddings normally like that starts at early, right?
I used to wash dishes at
okay.
a banquet hall. So I'm going to say you had a 4-hour block.
So that would be what, 9:30?
9:30.
Wedding went till midnight.
Oh, okay.
It went late. And it was an awesome time. And the groom,
They paid for some extra time.
they paid for a lot of extra time. The groom was, I believe, the president of her fraternity. So I think he had everybody that ever went to the fraternity was in attendance. So it was getting a little wild there at the end. But it was a good time. The British Open.
British Open.
The Open is what they call it.
The Open.
I call it the British Open still.
I got into a fight with the roommate. It was like, no, I thought the Open was the U.S. Open.
Did you say the roommate?
In college.
Okay.
That was the last time I had a roommate.
I thought you were calling your wife the roommate.
No.
Okay.
No, we're better than that.
Okay, good. All right.
I had a fight about what is it called, the Open or whatever, and he's correct. It is called the Open. I thought the U.S. Open was more towards the Open, but the champion golfer of the year.
Yeah, Colin Morikawa played like he was flawless. He reminded me of Tiger Woods at the end. And by the way, I know that I said I like to watch the golf late. When you're at a wedding, though, for a weekend, nothing better than having that come on early. I'd wake up, I'd go down to the hotel lobby, turn it on in the hotel lobby, just have coffee, 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That was perfect for me.
That's good, but also having it on early, it's not like, it starts at 1:30, so they don't show the whole field anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think Morikawa started at 9:55 or something.
Kisner played a 2-hour round at like 2 in the morning.
He was the first one off. Yeah. I mean, that would suck. By the way.
Oh yeah. No.
I would not want to go out there and play. If I'm just going to play that course, yes, I would go out there and play by myself. But if I'm at the Open with no shot, I just want to get on a flight and probably come home.
Yeah, I agree.
Mentally, not into it. But if it starts at 10, it's still on till like 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. Then you can go about your day. So I didn't mind it.
I thought it was awesome to watch. It wasn't windy, so that took a lot of the fun out of it.
It was definitely not what it usually is.
Because normally the wind is howling.
No rain, no fog, or it was perfect. It was the hottest day of the year on Sunday.
85, 82 degrees there or something, and it was. We talk about the U.S. Open. We need like carnage, and we want like want it to be like aggressive things going on, and British Open the same thing. And normally you get more when you get the flag sticks that are just bending. Nothing. So it was kind of, I guess, anticlimactic.
Anti or anti?
I also said a word this weekend that my wife told me I say wrong. I say almonds.
Instead of what?
Almonds?
Almonds.
Oh.
Almonds?
Yeah, wow.
You say almond?
No, I did not know what word you were trying to say.
Almonds? What do you say?
Almond?
No, I say almond.
That makes no sense.
Sounds like the past of amen.
Okay, so I say almond.
Almond.
I say almond.
Okay, well, you're
Okay.
wrong.
So whatever. So there was anticlimactic. I'm saying that wrong, by the way. I know that's incorrect.
You're just really
I'm really butchered. I
enunciating
can't get through it. So anyway, it wasn't that great. But Kepka made a run. My guy Kepka.
Oh, he
made a
did.
run.
He did. Last day he did.
How did you do in your pool?
The majors pool, all 4 majors, or the winnings is how it's calculated. The final spreadsheet has not come out yet, but I did have Rahm, I did have Usti, and a lot of other people had those guys. I finished with 2 guys and tied for 3rd, and I think I'm going to be in 4th place, which is going to be
almost.
Probably
Roy hurt you.
Roy sucked.
Yeah, Roy really.
You know
hurt
what?
you.
One, he putted like shit.
I think he's kind of just done. He doesn't want to win anymore.
I don't know. I'm done. I'm done with Rory.
Yeah.
I'm all
love
over
him too.
Morikawa. Man,
Oh boy, he's good.
I'll tell you what, the putts that he made, Spieth, holy shit.
I know. Like Spieth was charging
Dude,
like as hard as he
Spieth,
can go.
Spieth was like 25 feet away, and I thought he was going to make every goddamn putt
Yeah,
he
he
took.
was rolling it. He
was unbelievable. Morikawa made every pressure putt or every par save that he had to make.
Yeah,
Just
he
done.
did.
I mean, he had
He was strong.
ice in his veins, too.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. So and
Rahm made a charge too. Rahm had a great final round.
Yep.
He missed again.
Bunnies.
It's all about putting.
It is.
You have to be able to putt.
It is. It certainly.
And if you're
is.
making the putts, you're gonna have a chance at the end. But if you don't make those, I mean, Rahm, I want to say started out the second round. Let's say second round or whatever. Just really good shots, and then 5-footer he misses.
Yeah, missed a lot of putts. We have a member 3 tomorrow. Well, it's Tuesday now. We're recording. It's Wednesday.
That's not happening.
I'm looking at hail in the
You
forecast.
just dated us.
Yeah, I'm looking at hail in the forecast.
I'm
still going.
I don't think you are. I don't think it's going to happen.
I hate it when we don't get to compete because nothing I like more than having something that you got to go out there and try to win. And I got you on my side on this one.
Yeah.
Normally we're against each other, and we've got a good team together, and it might get canceled. So we're going to find out. We'll see.
I'm just saying there's a big patch of green on the radar, which usually isn't a very
Not
good
a
sign.
great sign.
That is going to be directly overhead at 12:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's not great. Also, last night, sleeping like a baby, get woken up by my wife. She's like, I think there's a burglar in the house. This happened.
It happens.
I know, but we have cameras everywhere. We've got the Nest system, and I check, and there's no movement on anything. There's no sensor lights are on. And she's like, get up. So I get up, and I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I heard something at the top of the stairs. Like, I heard somebody downstairs. I'm like, okay. So we had field hockey sticks because I play field hockey. And then I let her go down first.
She didn't go down first.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she's
come
like,
on.
I'm going first. And then she was like grinning. And I was like, is this a game? Am I getting recorded somewhere? Like, what's going on here? And then, we sweep the house. I guess you could say.
You don't have a baseball bat next to the bed?
I didn't have. I had a field hockey. By the way, field hockey.
I didn't even
stick.
play baseball, and I have a baseball bat next to the bed.
I have one, but it's not by the bed. But a field hockey stick hurts. That would be a weapon.
What would you rather get hit with? A baseball bat?
I wouldn't want to get hit with any. I wouldn't want to get hit with anything.
Pick one. You got to get hit with one.
I'd rather get hit with a field hockey stick.
I'd rather get hit with a field hockey stick too.
But it was a little smaller one too, and I know I could have whipped it. Like, so a bat, you got to take a big swing. So
choke up.
I go down. Yeah, you could choke up a little. I go downstairs and creep down there, sweep the house.
No movement.
She's like, you didn't check your office in the basement. And I was like, are we really doing this? So then I back away a little bit, and she's like, you were putting me down there first? And I was like, yeah, go. We want to check it. There's nobody in here. I'm looking at all the cameras. There's nobody in the house. And, the AC's going, so there's sound. I look in the office, nothing in the office. We go down to the basement, and it's a 2-stair corner basement, right? So there's a landing, and then you go down to the left. So I go down to the left, and I start to go down there, and I'm like, hey. I'm like, if you're down here.
You did not announce yourself.
Yeah, I announced myself, and my wife did too. We announced ourselves coming down there.
Usually people announce yourself when you have like a 9mm in your hand or something like that, not a field hockey stick.
Exactly.
Hey, by the way,
if he has a 9mm, I'm like, hey, I'm coming down, shoot me.
I've got a field hockey stick in my hand.
I'm coming down. You're gonna get hurt. Is basically what I said. Now, mind you,
Excuse me, Mr. Burglar.
my wife's athletic and played Division I field hockey. She's got the field hockey stick. I've got the field hockey stick. I can tell you what I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be that guy in the basement if there was somebody down there, because that would have been a beatdown. That would have been a beatdown.
Imagine if you guys just did that like during the night and took 2 field hockey sticks downstairs and just played field hockey in the basement.
Play field hockey.
Hey, this is game time for us.
Hey, for a second there, she did give me a little bit of a pump-up speech when I went downstairs. She's like, get ready, let's go. And I was like, whoa. Like, I kind of got, like, the blood. Like, I was like, woof. I'm ready. Like, the adrenaline hit me a little bit. I had to re-listen to Dr. Kevin Chapman about, like, some of my breathing techniques.
Some of your anchoring techniques.
I was like, is there really somebody in here right now? Is this for real?
Sounds pretty,
I'm like, we live in a nice neighborhood. There's nobody in our house. What are you talking about?
sounds anticlimactic.
Anticlimactic. Anticlimactic. Okay.
Anti.
So nothing happened. Everybody went to bed.
You could have visualized yourself on what was going to happen if someone was there.
I'm going to hit that in just a second. We went to bed, left all the lights on. So nothing happened. Whatever. No big deal. We live to see another day, I guess, is the big thing. But I'll check the doors extra hard tonight. Just make sure. I don't know. Check the closets. I gave the closets a sweep last night. Somebody like playing games here, but visualization, by the way, visualization.
So you're talking fast right now.
I'm stuck.
And you did a post. Did you see the post he did
what
yesterday?
was with the mouth?
Oh my God! What were you doing with your tongue? Your tongue was all over the place.
I'm never gonna.
Like a giraffe.
I don't understand what that was for the team of the day. By the way, the team of the day is getting like rave reviews. People are following us left and right on this. Like it's building a national following because we're picking teams.
One follower at a time.
Yeah, one follower at a time. We did one today. I did one though, and I came in here and just flipped it on and did it. But I did something with my mouth. It was wild. I don't know what. I had a pistachio in my mouth because I was eating pistachio shells. And I did try to like tuck it over in the side, but I didn't assume that I was going to just immediately start speaking after. So it was an interesting move by me. Visualization though, golf. I've listened to that Dr. Kevin Chapman one, I think twice. It is, some of the stuff in there was so powerful and so good. I've been telling everybody to listen to that episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, listen to it.
Good.
It was really strong about anxiety and like dealing with pressure and like being an athlete and like just living life. I tried that at the golf course at the country club. We played the country club after we recorded on that Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I forgot about it, and then I visualized on like 3 or 4 holes. How well did I play that? How well did I finish?
You played well. You shot 37 on the back.
Yeah, and I didn't start visualizing until a couple holes in.
Yeah, it was probably around 12, somewhere around there.
And it was,
and then you wouldn't shut up about it, so that was even better. When a couple of the people in the group aren't playing as well,
it's like you just got to visualize.
You know what? I did the visualization as well, and it still went right. And then I snap hooked one on that par 5, and then came in. I had a nice recovery over there. Didn't get it far enough, but I was way off in the other fairway.
Yeah,
had a good shot in on the third shot, but those greens are so goddamn small.
Oh, they're so small. They're like the size of this table.
And the rough, and it's not even what it's going to be for the U.S. Open next year. The greens are so small. The rough, especially in the second cut, it is so thick.
It was a nightmare. Yeah, it was hard. And it wasn't even close to set up.
If you're not visualizing how you're going to hit the shots and then hit them, you're screwed.
Exactly. So I'm taking this visualization thing to the max, in the rest of my life.
Visualization does nothing for an athlete or a player if they don't have the fundamentals.
Well, you got to have the fundamentals. You
can sit there and go like, hey, I visualize this and all that. Yep, that worked. No, it doesn't work.
It's the mental.
You've got to put the work in, and you've got to figure it out, and you've got to have confidence, whether it's your swing or whatever you're doing, but visualization did not work for me that day.
If you know you can turn a little cut over the edge of the bunker, though, and I visualize that, and then you just go do it. It's a positive thought before execution.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, you got that up.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do from now on.
Positive thought before execution. So like what Bill used to practice preparation makes game day reality.
Yeah, those two things right there are all I'm going to think when I'm playing golf from now on. That's it.
All right.
That's all I'm going to do. So
words to live by.
We did look great out there. We wore Summit brands. I had a Zero Restriction shirt on, jacket. I mean,
I had Beach-Ratty. I want Beach-Ratty.
Yeah, you had a Beach-Ratty shirt on. Another one of the great Summit brands products. Those are all available at Squad Locker now. Live in stores. People are buying it. It's like the best waterproof gear and maybe the most comfortable like shirts you can find. So those are in stores. Corporate, people are buying that left and right. A lot of nice schools. Some golf teams are buying it so far. So www.squadlocker.com/suitup. And let's jump into the interview.
Yes, sir.
Dan played football for the Patriots.
What's he doing?
We gotta just record this and play this. This is great. This is great right here. This is perfect.
This is what y'all need.
Yeah.
This is content.
This is exactly what we need. So anything that we
Hey, let me interrupt real quick and show you something that you'll really appreciate. Oh
I'm
my
ready.
God, you're gonna love this. Look at this bobblehead
Dontrell Willis.
from the Jupiter Hammerheads.
It's perfect. That's a great one.
It's my favorite bobblehead.
Let's cover some more of these up there. What else you got up there? We're going live now. We're rolling. We're rolling. What else is up there?
If you want to cut anything out, just let us know and we'll take it out. But
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so look, we got,
right off the start. I'll hang on. I'll introduce you. So we got Steve Kent on. Played in the big leagues. Played for a long time. In major and minor league baseball. Now he's got a pretty successful business that he's built with a lot of the guys from baseball. Show us the collection.
And a hell of a bobblehead collection.
And a hell of a bobblehead collection. Let's see it.
I actually have a pretty extensive bobblehead collection that I haven't unpacked yet because I just recently built this house. My wife and I just recently moved in, and I haven't unpacked a lot of stuff, and I'm doing some redesigning of my office. But
let's
I do
go
have
to
some
it.
cool ones up here.
Here we go.
So far,
Going on a tour.
Is this an episode of Cribs? What's in
It
your
could turn into
refrigerator?
that.
What's in your refrigerator?
Oh my God, it could turn into that. So I got a Steve Cox. I don't know if you can see that. I played with him in the big leagues. Adrian Beltre, Manny Pacquiao, when he fought Margarito at
Manny
AT&T
Pacquiao.
Stadium. Yeah, it's a pretty significant bobblehead because it was the first boxing match at AT&T Stadium when Jerry Jones built Jerry World. Christian Yelich when he won the MVP. Prince Fielder. I got a first pitch from the World Series. A couple presidents in there. Nolan Ryan. I don't know if you can see that one.
That's a good one. Yep.
That's my
Can't
favorite.
miss
It's one of
that
my
Astros
favorites.
jersey.
There's Ichiro. I got to play with Ichiro, play against Ichiro. One of my coolest at-bats in the big leagues was against Ichiro. We'll get to that later. Andy Pettit, Paul Molitor, Dontrell Willis. Couple of different bobbleheads.
We'll have to bring you back on when you unpack the rest.
Yeah.
That'll be.
Oh, yeah.
And our producer, Max, has a fake throwback Mike Schmidt jersey on today, so it's kind of perfect timing.
Today's memorabilia day. Today's a big memorabilia day.
Here's another jersey.
That's a sharp one there. That's a sharp one. Now you got to hang that up.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's my big league jersey. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
This one's legit. I got the guys at Fanatics to do it through a connection through my agent that I use as a player. He still represents a lot of current players, so he hooked me up with the guy over there, and those are big league. I got a Marlins one back there. I got a Mariners one and a Devil Rays.
Who was the big? Who was it? Barnes had like a ridiculous setup. Remember his office? He had the bat racks and he had all the jerseys behind him. He had a good setup.
I got some bats also because I don't know if you remember. I did have a job as a bat rep.
I bought some. I used to buy a bunch from you for clients.
That's right. That's right. That's how we reconnected.
That's right.
Yeah, but he just keeps field hockey sticks in his room now. He doesn't really
plenty
keep
of
bats
plenty
around.
of bats. So Steve, he was repping for a bat company, and what I like to do during this time was I got to get one for you, by the way. You might have to connect with you on this, Steve. So I used to buy them as gifts
for the show too.
That's
and everything.
That's a good
exactly.
point.
Yeah. So we used to buy them and I used to give them as gifts to people. Like, hey, here's a bat. It's got your name on it. It's got your title. It's got your company name. So that's what I used to gift that out a lot. I got to get back to that. That was a good that was a good deal, So
I'll actually, if you guys want to go and get into, what I'm currently doing and how I use bats to get into what I'm doing.
We will be getting into what you're doing, and that's like,
Steve, I think you should just lead the interview.
You've got this.
It's perfect
You know exactly where you want to go.
Yeah. Did you write down an agenda?
It's perfect timing because during that time I was focused a lot on doing the trophy bats for guys like you that were handing them out as gifts. Well, I had an account with a mortgage company, and the guy was doing the same thing. And through conversation, he basically said, "Hey, Steve, I think you would be really good at this." And I said, "Well, what does this entail?" Because I had never had a real job, technically. I played baseball, sold bats, did lessons.
That's a real job.
So
Baseball is a real
no
job. Dan will say no, too, but we know baseball was a real job.
To you or to Steve?
Well, to both of us. I mean, it was a part of our life.
I'd say it's more real for him, but yes, it was a real job.
Well, we didn't have to send an email.
But I know what Steve's saying. He's saying just playing sports in general is hard to say it's a real job when you get it.
I get it.
Yeah, You get it.
Exactly. So, without having any experience, I basically said, hey, what does it entail? He lined out some details, and I said, hey, if you'll hold my hand through the process, I'm in, because I don't know what to do, and you explain it to me, and here's what I do know: I'm good at sales. So if you're telling me all I have to do is be a good salesman, then I'm going to kill it, and here we are killing it.
Yeah, you are. And now I wanted to get in one of the first things. So how long did you play, by the way?
Big league lender. Let's give
big
a little
league
plug there.
lender.
Big league lender.
Don't worry, we'll give him plenty of plugs on this one.
I was drafted in '99.
Yep.
And I attempted to play up until 2012. Now, how long did I actually play? That's to be determined. But I did attempt to continue playing up until 2012.
One thing I noticed the other day, I was looking through some baseball reference stuff. I wasn't looking at yours, but I pulled up somebody. It shows your current status, right? And mine, a lot of people have voluntary retirement, or they have retired. Like I'm not sure what yours is. Mine says free agent.
Oh, nice.
I'm currently a free agent.
You're still
right
available.
Now. I'm still available to be picked up.
Well, I did see your golf swing the other day, so I'm sure you can get signed doing something.
That's true. It's very good. Thank you.
It's exceptional.
It's getting dialed in. So you played for a while. What I wanted to go down a little bit on this interview is, we've all transitioned, right? Like in terms of the new thing that we do, right? I played for 5 years. You played for 12, 13. Dan played for 11. We're all still young at the end of that, right? Like when I was done after 5 years, I was 26 years old. You're doing something else. You've taken this network of people that we have, right? Which is the funniest thing. Like we've been in this group that has 13,000 guys in it, right? On Facebook. And I've told you about this, major and minor league current and present players.
Current and present, aren't they the same?
No, sorry.
Current and retired players.
Current and retired players. That's what it is. So it's this huge group, big network. We always talk about like the fraternity of locker rooms and like being with your buddies and everything. You've capitalized on it. Because I can't tell you, every day I look on there and one of these guys is saying, hey, thanks to Steve, like helping me out with my mortgage or helping me out like refinancing my house. It's literally almost every day. So like your entire network is like, I mean, I know you have a network outside of this, but it's really built off of the playing experience, I'm assuming. Is that pretty close to accurate?
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, it literally is almost 100%. Like last year, for example, I closed 85 loans. Mm-hmm. There are loan officers that do 185 loans, 285 loans. 85 is a decent amount of loans for somebody in their second year. Mm-hmm. I'd say out of those 85 loans, 80 came from or were a referral from a baseball player.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's a huge number. Mm-hmm. But but here's the deal. It's the same thing in football. It's the same thing in baseball. We're all a tight knit group of people until you mess up. Yeah. And once you mess up, you're out.
Yep.
So my reputation in the baseball community, in the sports world, in the neighborhood I live in, there's two NFL guys. I don't want to name their names, but one's a current player, one's a retired player. He wore a jersey very similar to the one behind
Oh, behind Dan. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if it's the same, but it's the same colors.
Generally in Florida, what location would you be close to? What's the next town over? And we can.
Well, I live in Dallas.
Oh, he's Dallas.
Okay. All right, Dallas.
Yeah, I live in Dallas, and the town is called Prosper. So if you've heard of Prosper, Texas, it's a pretty affluent neighborhood, pretty affluent town, and a lot of retired and current players, football players and baseball players, flock to this community. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you from Texas originally?
I'm from Texas originally.
Okay.
I was born in Germany. My father was in the military, so we bounced around back and forth between Germany and Texas, but I've always lived in either Germany or Texas. So
the hand holding that this mortgage guy had to get you through, was it? I mean, you were doing the bat thing beforehand. Was it just be like, oh, I'm going to be good at this, or was it after you talked to him for a while? It's like, I'm excited about doing this type of thing.
No, I told him I was going to kill it right out of the gate. And
that's why people like hiring athletes, because we're just, we're going to go.
Well, yeah, I'm not wired to suck. You know what I'm saying?
That should be a name of a book. That's a good name for a book right there. Not wired to suck.
Well, actually, I think Max just put that down as the title of the episode. Yeah.
Well, that's just how I'm built. I'm not gonna take something on and suck at it. So once I realized that it is essentially sales. We are sales. There is some management going on. There is some ins and outs of the loan process. I don't have that part mastered, but it's a relationship business, sales oriented, and I felt like I'm good at that. I just needed a different product with a different price per unit. And bats, I turned a little side gig into a pretty, I'm not gonna say lucrative, but I was making decent cash because I was able to capitalize my relationships with some of the clubhouse managers that I built along the way as a player. For example, the clubhouse manager I had in the big leagues, when I was in the big leagues, as a clubhouse manager for a different team, and he handled the bat purchases on the minor league side. So I was able to obtain their entire minor league business. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about an order of a dozen bats or 100 bats. We're talking thousands of bats. And then I took that same model and was able to repeat it with a couple of different organizations and start pumping out large amounts of bats in single orders, where I was able to do less work and make more money. Mm-hmm. I took that same concept with bats, and I tell this story all the time. I'll tell it to you guys since we're on tape. I really like this to get out there. I had a conversation with a guy. We're talking about fungos, and it could be a guy very similar to the guy right there.
You know what fungo? Is?
What's a fungo?
Oh, Dan doesn't know what a fungo is. Okay,
so it's a training bat. Let's just in general, it's a bat. So
a coach will use it, hit ground balls.
Order with the guy.
Okay. Yep.
I'm going over an order with this guy, and we're going over colors, we're going over sizes, names, engraving, all that stuff. It takes about 30 minutes. And then my commission on that deal, after it's all said and done, orders placed, delivered, is a small commission per bat. Mm-hmm. I took the same amount of time and talked to a guy about a refinance, took him through the process, how it works, what to expect, same 30 minutes on the phone, and I probably made 50 times the amount of money and spent the same amount of time on the phone. So I've been able to take those same conversations from guys that I've sold bats to. You'd be surprised how many loans I've done for guys that I've sold bats to. It's kind of funny, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Dan was doing some paperwork earlier.
He's looking into a refi right now.
So this is where we have some real estate questions for you, because this has been eating at me right now lately with the real estate, because the market is so strange and wild and crazy, and like our area in Rhode Island is like, I mean, you can triple up your house right now almost, like in terms of like what you bought it for. So those questions are coming. I do have a question about your major league debut, because I like to ask that question to people and see what type of stress and what type of feelings you had during that time. Because we talked to a doctor last week talking about like anxiety, and stress reducing techniques. What was that experience like for you on the mound? It's always my first question I ask a lot of people that got there. It's like, what's the first thing that you did? What's the first feeling that you felt out there?
I mean, it's a very surreal feeling. I mean, because you kind of get, you have this idea of, what I want to accomplish once you get drafted. First of all, I never thought I'd ever get drafted. I never even knew anybody that got drafted. I'm the first and only player or person from my town to make it to the big leagues. So it wasn't like big leaguers were growing on trees where I'm from. So when I got drafted, I actually thought I was going to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know what the minor leagues were. So finally when I learned the process, and you go through your first year, second year, I'm in my third year in the minor leagues, and I start to figure out that I'm actually pretty good. Next year, my fourth year, I'm in the big leagues. So you're thinking to yourself, all this has led up to one moment, and it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's really happening. My parents are in the stands. I got a couple buddies in the stands. Everybody's anxious as I am to see me throw out my first pitch. And then when it finally happens after the game, you're just like, wow, I did it. Mm-hmm. Officially, I've made it to the major leagues, and it was witnessed by, a decent amount of my close-knit family and friends. So, I mean,
you made it there.
It's pretty.
You made it there in the fourth year. I know it's different for individual basis. I get that. Hey, top pick, last pick. It's going to be generally different timeline. What's the average timeline that people spend in the minors, you think, before they get the call up, if they ever get the call up?
I think now it's probably different than when we were playing. I think the game has gotten a lot more. Game has got a lot younger. Guys are more mature. I think coming into the draft after being drafted. I think they're. We still there?
Yeah, we got you. Yep.
So I think now it's a lot more common to see a guy spend 3 years in the minor leagues and make his debut. I think it's a lot more common now to see a guy 22, 23 years old and already have 2 or 3 years under his belt.
Yeah, that's definitely changing. Yeah, that's absolutely been changing. And I would have said, if you were to ask me and you, we played around the same time frame, right? I would have said the average is probably 4 or 5 years. That a guy,
because that's what I remember. Yeah. So I remember, hey, this guy's been in there for 5, 6 years, or whatever the number is.
It was just traditional.
It's almost like you have to pay your dues down there.
Yeah, well, it was traditional to kind of go through each level, right? You're in rookie ball, you're in A ball, you're maybe in high A after that. If you were still young, like you're in double A, you might make your leap then. Where you go to big league camp and you kind of go right up, or you go to AAA and you groom yourself that year for half the year, and then you get called up in September. That's 4 years, 5 years right there. And I think that probably was a traditional path, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, me being my path, I was the first person in my draft class to make it to the big leagues. Technically, I should have been the first rounder, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely correct.
I was ninth rounder. I was first one in my draft class to make it to the big leagues after my third year, which was, honestly was too quick. I think if I would have had a little more seasoning in the minor leagues, I would have been better prepared for the major leagues and maybe spent more time, because I only spent 1 year. Mm-hmm. And there's a saying that we've all heard in baseball: it's harder to stay than it is to get there. Mm-hmm. How many times have we heard that comment?
A million. Yep.
Thousands. Mm-hmm. And I'm a perfect example and a perfect believer, and I preach this message all the time, that is a true statement. For me to get to the big leagues and only spend 3 years in the minor leagues was easy. It was a walk in the park. And then all of a sudden I get to the big leagues, which I thought I had a decent year, a good enough year to get another shot. Mm-hmm. The following year, I wasn't mature enough. That lack of maturity, and I don't want to say the overwhelming, but it was a little overwhelming because of the background I came from. All of a sudden I'm just throwing all this publicity, money, just you could walk on water essentially back then when you're in the big leagues. Probably how it is now, but I wouldn't know now. But that combination, what didn't prepare me for the minor leagues the following year. And the minor leagues the following year is probably the year that did me in. Mm-hmm. So there is some truth to the comment of it's easier to get there than it is to stay.
Yeah, and you hear terms like you'll hear this all the time, and we've heard these in baseball, like guys get salty. So if you've been there, right, and then you go down, you're salty while you're there.
Yeah.
And that's really that's a a term that's used towards AAA a ton, right? You get a lot of guys that are good enough to be in the big leagues. Like they've probably been there for years. That you get these like salty vets is what the term is a lot. And then that's, it's all about attitude and consistency. And if you show it, you get back up there. But like you said, it's much harder. Well, first of all, it's really hard for me to not get there.
There were so many comments in there that I couldn't make. I actually laid off of you. I actually laid off.
I know, because you're
nice guy sometimes.
You're earning my respect.
Thank you.
But then I'm assuming it's hard to stay there. That's my assumption.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
If you ever see the chart, and I don't even know where to find it, but if you start looking at like how many guys just made it to the big leagues. Mm-hmm. There was a post that went viral. There was a guy that was the 20,000th player. So there's only been 20,000 dudes to play in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. Well, that list gets significantly smaller with guys that have played one full year. Mm-hmm. And then for guys to have gone to arbitration where you're 3 years service time, that list is drastically smaller than right. The list of guys that have made it. So, I mean, it is hard to stay. The guys get called up, a cup of coffee, play for a couple weeks, get sent back down. Maybe they're a replacement player because of an injury or something, and they just get thrown in the mix and never make it back. Just never make it back. They battle through the minor leagues year after year after year and never get the opportunity, which is what I did. I battled through the minor leagues again. I got my life back in order mentally. And I had some decent years where I thought I should have been given the opportunity to get back to the big leagues, and I wasn't. One was with the Astros. I was literally getting a phone call from the manager. I had the lowest ERA on the team. I'm in AAA. I'm throwing the ball well, and the manager calls me. I was so nervous because I thought he was about to tell me I'm going to the big leagues. I didn't answer the phone. The pitching coach then called me. So I'm like, okay, something's going on. So he said, hey, you need to call the manager back. So I called the manager back, and he says, hey, we need you to get to the field as soon as you can. I happen to live in Austin, which is where Round Rock is. So I'm at home, so I just drive to the field. They call me into the office, and they tell me you're being sent to AA.
That's what it was.
I think I'm getting called up, and I'm getting sent down. Yep. And that's how crazy baseball is.
Yeah, it is nuts when you get in the shuffle of I was in AA for a couple of years and then ended up getting released, getting signed back, and went to high A. It's like, just like exactly. you're all over the place, in terms of where it is. It's people and places and consistency and like what the needs are. I mean, it's a business, obviously.
The timing of everything is pretty significant. Like the timing has to add up for a guy to play 10 years in the big leagues. The timing has to add up to where you have to stay healthy. One, I mean, you, as a former football player, you can understand health more than anybody. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to.
No, you're good.
I'm trying to put my phone on the charger, and it's
this is the stuff that people love.
One of the sayings that Bill always had, and there was a sign up in the locker room and in the wall in the facility, is durability is more important than ability. And if you can't stay on the field, you're useless to them. It doesn't matter how talented you are, but if you get hurt all the time, you can't do anything for them.
Yeah, same in baseball. Same with the high school sports. I still work with kids, not as often as I'd like because mortgage business is pretty busy. But one thing I tell kids is two things will keep you off the field. One is grades because you got to pass to play in high school, and health. If you're not healthy, you're not going to do anybody any good. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
What happened in that next year? Were you just salty? Was it a mental thing, or were you just
for me personally, it was mental. Like I ended up in a new organization, and I was and this kind of technical baseball stuff. So you get sent. So I'm back in big league camp. I'm now with the Marlins, and I had 2 outings. And I did pretty good in each of those outings. And then they send me down. They call me in the office and say, we're going to send you to AAA. And I'm totally fine with that. The year before I was in the minor leagues. I got a year in the big leagues now. I'm going back to AAA. I feel like I can throw the ball good enough and get called back up pretty quickly. Well, the last day, or maybe the day before the last day, I checked the rosters like we checked the rosters. And I'm Actually, I don't check the rosters. I end up going to recheck them because they told me I was on the wrong field. And I said, well, this is the AAA field, right? They said, yeah, but you're on the AA roster. And I literally was just in a meeting with these guys telling me I'm being sent to AAA. So now I just go about my business, wander over to the AA field. And then 2 days later, I'm in Zebulon, North Carolina, in a AA uniform playing the major league team as an exhibition game. And the big league coach, who I just was in big league camp with, just in the office with, being sent down to AAA, is saying, they sent you here? And I said, you don't know that they sent me here?
Yeah.
And there I was.
Yep.
I didn't know anybody on the team. I didn't know any of the coaches, and nobody knew me. It was almost like I was I don't want to say cancer because that's a terrible word to use in the clubhouse, but it was almost like nobody wanted to help me because that guy over there was just in the big leagues last year. He's got life figured out. We'll just leave him alone. No. And that's what they did. I was kind of by myself. I didn't have, it took a while to friend the new guys on the team or the new team. And it took a while for the coaches to, hey, this guy really doesn't have it figured out. We need to help him. And it was too late. I'd already checked out. I was ready to go home. That ended up being a bad year. It took me an off season. I went and played winter ball that season, kind of get my attitude, motivation back. And, after that, I ended up signing with the Rockies the next year and put together a couple of good seasons in the minor leagues with them. Thought I should have got a chance with the Rockies. Then I bounced to the Braves. Same thing, threw the ball well. Thought I had a better opportunity with them. And then with the Astros, of course, I had a couple good seasons in AAA with them. And for sure at one point thought I was going to get called up and I got sent down. And that was pretty much the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, that was it.
So from there, it's a tough battle, and a lot of things have to add up in your favor. And when they don't, it's kind of like, well, what else can I do?
True.
Venezuela,
and sometimes
right?
There's really.
Did you play? Was it Venezuela that you played in?
I spent probably 5 seasons throughout the years in Venezuela.
Yeah, which is nuts. I mean, one of our first guests, one of my best friends, Ryan Reed, and he played down there for a couple of years, and he said it's just play the game, immediately go to the hotel, the American resort hotel. When he was there, I don't know, was it nuts down there for you?
How recent was
he was there? Probably 14, maybe 13, 12, 13 in that range, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Venezuela started getting, the country is in a different political situation than it was a few years prior to that. So it probably was like that. I mean, I had some crazy experiences in Venezuela. And this was before it actually got how bad it is now.
Give us one. Give us one. We're ready for one.
I don't know if he is.
I'm in the bullpen down the first base line. That's our bullpen. And over the third base line bullpen in the background is downtown Caracas. Mm-hmm. While we're in the game, this is a Sunday day game. Boom. We're like, what was that? This loud explosion happens. And then all of a sudden, this high-rise building is on fire. Oh. In the background, somebody dropped a bomb in this building and blew it up. And helicopters are now taking passes at this building, trying to put out this fire. We later learned that there was a political figure. I don't remember who it was or what it was, but they assassinated him. The entire country shut down for the next couple of days. We couldn't leave our hotel. We couldn't go to the gas station. We couldn't go to the store. You could not leave your hotel. That wasn't just the Americans that lived in the hotel. That was the entire country. Everything shut down until they figured out what was going on. It was crazy.
Did the game continue? Because I feel like the chaos.
The game just went on.
Yeah, I know. That's what's nuts down there. It's like the stands are crazy. The fans go crazy. Nuts.
So Caracas is the capital of Venezuela. It's a massive size city. It's a huge population, and there's no middle class in Venezuela. It's either you're really rich or you're really poor. And some of the craziest games that I've been involved with were in winter ball when it's Caracas, the two Caracas teams, they're rivals, the two big teams in Venezuela. And we've got the chance to play with some decent Venezuelan players that, were established major leaguers. And you really don't understand why some of these guys act the way they act until you go to where they're from. Mm-hmm. And you start to understand, okay, I get it. And these stadiums would have like bottle service. Like you could go like behind home plate. You're not sitting at like a regular chair, like in the stands at a minor league game. You're sitting at a table as a waitress with bottle service. And these are rich Venezuelan people that have come to gamble on the game, or just, they're fans because this is the biggest, show in town at the time, and they just get wasted. And there's no holding back like in the United States, not in New York.
Flames shooting out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you got these girls, that are wearing these bikinis, a little less than bikinis, dancing on top of the dugout because, that's what they do. I mean, it is amazing baseball.
Yeah, it's a party down there. That's what we've heard.
It is a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity for guys, that are in the minor leagues that make, very little income to go over and make decent amount of money while playing in winter ball. You can almost essentially make in 2 or 3 months what you've made the entire season.
Right. And that's why guys do it. Yeah, guys, and it's like cash. They like just bring it over in the waistband.
There's got to be is there scouts that show up there too?
Oh yeah. So if you're doing well, they do scout that league. A lot of the Asian leagues, which nowadays Korea, Taiwan, Japan, these are all outstanding leagues, great opportunities. Korea used to have a salary cap. There's no more salary cap in Korea. Guys are going to Korea making right out of the gate $1 million, where they're fringe guys here that have been to the big leagues, back to the minor leagues, cup of coffee in the big leagues, back to AAA. Now they're heading overseas to Asia, and right out of the gate, $750 million.
Yeah.
So there's and the Asian leagues scout winter ball a lot. And the reason I believe they scout it so much is because how well is a guy going to do in a foreign country if he's never been to a foreign country? So if you can establish yourself in Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, one of these winter ball leagues, you probably can establish yourself in another country as well. Mm-hmm. So some of these Asian countries won't take a player unless they played winter ball.
Yeah, got it. So from Caracas to the U.S. housing market, okay? So it's a big leap. There's no inventory available, is what it feels like. House values are through the roof. This is the question time, and we have questions.
You're ready to go now.
Mortgage forbearance is coming to an end in I think July 31st, so that could change some things. What's your view on it? I know you're optimistic. You're helping guys make a lot of money on houses by not even selling them. I've seen that a bunch of times. Like what's your opinion from from somebody like yourself? Like what's going on with the U.S. housing market?
I'm no genie, and I don't have a crystal ball, so my answer is my opinion. I foresee the housing market continuing to be where we're at. The inventory is still staying low. I do think we're going to get more inventory here in the next couple of months, but I don't think we're going to see the inventory like we saw, 7-8 months ago. I don't think we're going to see that for at least another year. And when we start to get back to normal in the housing market, and again, this is my opinion, I think it's going to plateau. I don't think it's going to go back down. I think it's going to stay where it's at.
You think the numbers the numbers are going to stay where they're at?
I think they're going to stay. I don't think they're going to dip. A lot of people keep saying that we're going to see the housing market like in 2008. It's going to burst or it's going to crash or anything like that. Like I don't really foresee that happening. I think we are going to see. You brought an interesting point with forbearance. We are going to see, I think, more inventory come to the market because the people that were in forbearance that did not proceed to make their payments as instructed after forbearance are now going to go into foreclosure. Those foreclosure homes are going to come onto the market, and there's going to be some buying opportunity for cash-heavy people. So that could create more inventory, more opportunity for buyers.
I learned that on TikTok, by the way. But I think it's dead ass accurate because I did see it on like one of the news channels. I was like, okay, that makes sense. There should be short sales and there should be foreclosures and there should be things that pop inventory into the market. So somebody like me who like right now, I should sell my house and go rent for a little bit to see if it cools off a little bit. Because I mean, we're getting a phone call every day.
the problem is where are you going to rent?
That's true. Yeah. There's not a lot to rent. Oh, I could say
there's not a lot of rental. There's not a lot of rental properties available either. And I could give you a prime example. A guy behind me, he sold his house in 1 hour. It didn't even take pictures. The real estate agent didn't even have time to put a sign up, and sold his house for $200,000 over asking. He got his $1 million even offer and was like, well, I'm just going to go rent. Took the money because he had plenty of equity in his house, and now he's struggling to find a place to rent. He had to go all the way from where we live in Prosper, Texas, to downtown Dallas. It's probably 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. He had to go as far as downtown because there is inventory as far as the apartments in downtown because of the high-rise buildings. There's a lot of people have moved out of those places. He ended up having to move there and find a place there. So you could sell your house. The hard part is where you're going to go after you sell it.
So what you're saying right now is still a good time to contact the big league lender.
Absolutely.
Business is booming for the big league lender.
Yeah, if you're looking to purchase, I still feel like one category of homes that's still available more than the other category is new construction. New construction homes are still being built here in Dallas in the DFW area. I haven't seen it slow down one bit. No. Even during the pandemic, I live in the new construction community. I can I don't know if this works. But let's
oh boy.
We're doing Crips. We are doing Crips.
I don't know if he's doing Crips.
There we go. Out the window.
All right. I don't know what y'all can see out there.
We can see some stuff.
I see a couple houses.
Yep.
Look at them dudes getting after it right now, laying down a slab. I mean, these dudes are getting after it every day, Monday through Sunday.
It's 140 degrees down there, too.
Oh, it's so hot outside. It's crazy. I was sweating walking my dogs. It was miserable. But new construction is a good opportunity where a lot of people, especially from California, are moving here, buying up these new construction homes because these homes in this neighborhood, listed at whatever price they are. People are selling their older homes, much smaller homes in California, making more money. So they're running here.
The problem is a piece of plywood's like $96 though, right?
Yeah.
Or is it coming back down now? It's coming back down.
Yeah, no, wood has got back down. And actually that's funny you say that because when it was a little higher, it did slow down. I sit out and watch these houses being built every day. I think I was the third house in this neighborhood. And now I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this street. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I've been watching this process and, Texas was affected by the winter storms, which was a big deal. We had that to deal with. And then coincidentally, after the winter storms, it was like we were in Seattle or something. It rained for like a month. I've never seen so much rain. Mm-hmm. So that did halt construction a little bit. And then the wood crisis happened. So, I mean, there was a little pause in some of these new construction homes being built. But nonetheless, these people are still working. They're still getting after it. And there's a lot of buying opportunity on the new construction side. But as you mentioned earlier, you don't have to sell your house to capitalize from the market, because if the guy behind me sells his house for $1 million and it's $200,000 over list price, what does that do to my house? Mm-hmm. That instantly injects equity into my home. And the only way to use equity without selling is to do a cash out refinance. Mm-hmm. So I've been selling cash out refinances pretty hard last couple of months because of the increased value people are immediately given because of how overpriced homes are going for right now.
All right. I got a question, and I hope I put this the right way. So, in your expert opinion or your expert advice, let's say I get it that there's a minimum or there's rules against what the lending house can offer an athlete or an entertainer, right? There's got to be a contract length applied to it where they'll honor your income, right? What's your advice to former athletes or those guys just starting out?
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. All right, so if I'm going on a refi or buying a new house as a former athlete, I'm living off of like investments and all that jazz, right? Mm-hmm. What's the best way to go about that, or where's the best place to go? And you can pump yourself up here. That's fine. We can throw you another mention,
another ad read.
But I've found, and I've gone through this twice. one, when I just got cut, one mortgage lender wouldn't give me a loan, and I just got done getting cut after 9 years.
Yeah.
So that was
Successful career.
And by the way, that was right after the last real estate collapse. So I sort of get that one, but now we're out of it. What, 10 years now? Where do I go now, Steve, or this former athlete?
I get asked this question every day. Like, I literally just had a conversation before I jumped on this call with a guy that's a former player. Well, actually just became a former player like in the last couple of days. That was in Mexico for the last 2 seasons. And playing in Mexico, you're not W-2'd, you're not receiving a paycheck like you do working a normal job here. It's not documentable income. So I can't do anything for him. So when I talk to him, I'm like, what assets do you have? What kind of money do you have for a down payment? And what kind of job are you expecting to have moving forward? Because if you don't have income that we can use that's sustainable and can be proven to continue, there's really not a loan opportunity. So you have to become a renter. Once you become a renter, we can then start establishing yourself and preparing yourself for the buy process. Now, another battle that I've been going through is where I was able to capture a lot of the business of minor leaguers is COVID. So these guys didn't have a season last year. So now they're back working again, and now they're back earning money. But since they didn't have any income or any earnings the prior year, now I'm having to take the average of what they're currently making and divide that by 2 because there's no salary from the previous year. So it's been a huge battle for me, when I'm trying to help baseball players as the big league lender, not being able to help them. Another option, which I just ran into this scenario, is the guy's making almost $10,000 a month in AAA, doing well, did not play last year, so has no salary, no income from the prior year. He got a cosigner. His dad was able to jump on the loan, and using a cosigner, we were able to qualify him. He had plenty of money for the down payment.
Maybe I'll just get my dad to co-sign on something.
I'll co-sign for you.
Tip can co-sign on me. All right, that sounds good.
There you go. So a co-signer is a great option. I mean, sometimes, I was 33 years old when I got done playing, and I haven't had a job. I haven't had credit. I didn't even know what credit was. The first house that I bought, I felt like I was Al Pacino, and I bought it with cash. So I didn't know certain things. And I was 33 years old, and I had a car in my mom's name. Like, what kind of sense does that make? But, you have to start somewhere, and Tip, we all 3 of us have been there. It's a very humbling experience when you're being identified as a certain person, meaning an athlete or a baseball player specifically, and then all of a sudden you're not.
Yeah.
It's a very, very humbling
and then
experience.
people don't give you money. It's even more depressing.
Yeah, we've talked about that with a bunch of mostly all baseball, football, like different athletes that we have on. We talk about that. It's like the I've said this a few times on here. It's like what you do doesn't define you, but it did for a long time. It did. Like when you're an athlete, that did, right? And now it's like, you try to make your job not define who you are. And it's
100% how you identify yourself, because how many of your friends were minor league baseball players other than the guys you played with?
Yeah, no.
Guys back home.
No, growing up, none, right?
Yeah. So they all identify you as, oh, you mean Steve the baseball player. Oh, Steve the baseball player. Well, all of a sudden Steve's not the baseball player, and he's not this rich guy because I've been struggling through the minor leagues for the last couple of years. So it's not like I'm rich and I can just do whatever I want. I had to just get thrown into the real world with no real world experience. It was actually really hard on me personally. And I went through a little bit of depression and before I bounced back. I remember being in my house one day. I had a house, it was paid for, I had some money saved up. I had a couple of smart investments, so I wasn't like I was like struggling for food, but I didn't have any income, and eventually all that was going to run out. And I remember one day my mom showing up to my house and was like, you got to get out of here. You got to go do something. And I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
You could say it.
You could say it.
Yep.
I was like, shit, I got to go do something. And at the time, I wasn't about to go get a regular job because I was embarrassed, first of all, that I had to get a job and I was no longer a baseball player. My brother at the time owned a commercial cleaning business where he did nightly cleaning for a couple of different businesses. So I went and cleaned toilets at 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. So no one could see me, and I could start establishing myself with an income that could establish credit. Because you can go do lessons, which a lot of us do, right, Tip?
Yep.
A lot of us do lessons. I have guys come at me all the time. Oh man, Steve, I made $100,000 last year doing lessons. I was like, well, what does your tax return show?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you can report that.
Yeah,
Come
you
on,
can
bro,
stack cash. Like that happened with me right off the bat too, and I'm sure with you. You can stack cash for a little while doing it, but it's not. I also felt that wasn't sustainable. I was like, I don't want to do lessons from 2 p.m. until 10 every night. It's just what's that life
you
gonna
could
be?
Live. You could live.
You just came off a weekend with your kids, and you've been in the office more than you have in a couple of weeks.
I'm ready to go. I'm in the office early. Yep.
You can create. You can establish yourself, and that could be a decent career, but it's not going to be. You can't retire doing lessons.
Right.
You can't build a 401k. You can't build a retirement fund. It's all in the moment. And if you have long-term goals like a family and kids. I'll give you another example. I'm dealing with trying to qualify a guy for a loan from the group who just does lessons, no reportable income. It's just his wife, and she has a great job. This lady is doing pretty good, but with the amount of money he makes from lessons and the amount of debt that they've accumulated, they're trying to do a refinance, and I can't qualify him for the loan because he has no reportable income.
All right.
So
you're saying since the real estate collapse and what happened to them back then, it's still hard to get people loans nowadays.
I believe it is hard. I mean, I think, shoot, you make $200,000 a year, your W-2, excellent credit. It's still hard.
Okay, which is wild.
Yeah. It's a lot easier. But loans are hard. It's hard. It requires an effort from the borrower. And the loans that go easy are usually because the customer or a client is understanding that this is an intense process, and they immerse themselves and do what they have to do to get the house. Some people aren't as organized, and it just makes things a little more difficult. They don't know how to track stuff down. I mean, I've dealt with older people, who aren't tech savvy, where I've had to walk them through how to take a picture of their driver's license and send it to me because that is a requirement.
Yeah.
I'm
not telling you. I think they did. The last couple times that I've applied for loans or whatever, they did everything but ask for my firstborn. I mean,
exactly.
It is an in-depth process with
it's very in-depth. It's very intense.
It's a pain in the ass.
And at the end of the day, one of the reasons I think I've had the success that I've had is because I'm honest with people up front. This is going to be hard. I'm going to do my best to make it not so hard, and take most of the effort will come from us. As long as you're willing to work with us, and just kind of trust that I'm doing the right thing for you and your family, it will be easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some people that
I'll try and figure something out.
Very real.
It's not like when we request certain documents, it's not like I'm saying like Steve Kent needs it.
Yeah.
This is the rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Steve Kent's just following the rules. If it was up to me, you'd get 1%, you'd be qualified, you'd have $1 million house with no payment.
Yeah, that happened in 2005, 2008. That's what happened.
Exactly the loan process that I went through with when I was in the big leagues. I basically walked in there with a duffel bag of cash and bought a house.
Yeah.
All they asked me for was
that, or here's the other advice. While you're on that long-term contract, buy a house then, and don't ever leave.
Yeah, that's the way to do it for sure. This has been very real talk from the Past Our Prime boys. There were some lessons to be had there.
Let's hope.
So, we appreciate you having you come on. That's been awesome, and I'm glad that we went down a business path, because it's fun telling the stories and stuff, but it's also nice to know that guys are successful after. And you've definitely been doing that and utilizing a network, which I think was the smartest move ever, is really getting the trust of like that fraternity of baseball players, and you're killing that. How do we find you? How does everybody find you?
BigLeagueLender.com, Big League Lender on Instagram, Big League Lender on Twitter.
Yep.
Pretty easy to find. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all social media platforms. I really believe in social media. There's a lot of power to it if used the right way. But I know a lot of players, current players, former players, listen to your show. I appreciate that work you guys do. I want to leave with some advice to those guys, and I preach this every day. You're in the prime position. If you're currently playing a sport, any sport, it doesn't have to be professional. It could be college. You're in a room daily with 25, 50 guys, 55 on an NFL roster, right? 25 on an MLB roster, not including staff, coaching staff, training staff, clubhouse staff. There's a lot of people around you. Your network post-playing is how you're going to make money.
Nobody ever realizes that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I remember playing. There's so many people that, you connect with the guys a lot of times, but it's just as important to know the clubby and to know the people that are working in the sport as opposed to the guys that are playing in it. Like both.
Yeah.
I wish I knew some of the old scouts, some of the people. So like when I'm traveling for work, I'm like, hey, what's going on?
You show up at a White Sox game, you don't have to buy tickets.
Exactly. I had to buy tickets at a White Sox game the other day, right?
I'll never buy a ticket anywhere. I'll never buy a ticket. I'll never have to. Because it's the relationships that you build, and you treat everybody with respect. It will come back to you.
Yep.
If you're a cancer in the clubhouse, you can just kiss an opportunity working with players post your career goodbye.
Absolutely.
You got to be a good dude and honest.
Yep.
And and last piece of advice, if for current players, and I tell people this all the time, we're not all Derek Jeter. We're not going to just ride off into the sunset with millions and millions of dollars in our back pocket. Pick up a trade. Use mortgages, for example. And I'm not saying everybody has to be a loan officer, although it is a great industry, for athletes because of how we're wired. But pick up a trade. You could get your mortgage license while on the bus.
Yeah.
All these people have access to the internet everywhere. They're in the clubhouse. We have so much downtime. Tip, how much downtime do we have as players?
Tons.
Unreal amount.
Hey, I agree 100% with what you said on the networks or whatever. The one thing that I wish I did when I was playing during those 11 years, especially the off season, was using the name at that time and interning somewhere. Hey, Mr. Kraft, you know anybody that wants to have me show up for a couple months or something like that? I got some time on my hands. I think that would have been a good, a good thing to, go into retirement after,
I think just being able to have a conversation with Mr. Kraft is cool enough right there.
Yeah. Well, it didn't happen very often, but I think I could have gotten in there one year.
You're right. You're right. You're not. People.
You're not thinking long term at that point. You're just trying to stay in the game.
And we don't think that. We don't think
smarter
that
now.
Long term. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just smarter now. I wish I was smarter back then.
Yeah, we don't think that long term thing while you're in it because you're like, nah, I'm going to be there. I'm burning the boats. This is all I'm doing.
We got more grays now.
Yeah, I do.
No kidding.
It's getting bad.
But exactly, like you have time, to pick up a trade, learn a language, do something that betters yourself intellectually. That's going to help you post career, because your post career is going to last 5 times longer than your career.
Yep.
And if you don't set yourself up, learning something or picking up some kind of trade. Insurance, I think, is a great avenue as well, because you can get your license on the bus, sign up for an online course, take some classes while you're on the bus, and sell insurance to all your teammates. Every one of when you guys leave the studio, wherever you go and you walk around, just look at people. Every single one of those people have insurance. And they're getting it from somewhere. Why can't it be you? Same with loans. I look at these houses in this neighborhood. They all have loans. I mean, there's a few cash buyers here and there, but the majority of them are financing their home. Why can't it be with me? I feel like it can be. So that's why I'm a little more aggressive on the sales side than some people. But like I said, at the end of the day, guys that are listening that are currently playing, maybe they're transitioning out of playing, learn a trade. Be a good dude.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah, be a good dude is the other one. That's for sure. Last question. Favorite color Gatorade before we let you off the hook. He's got one.
It's empty, but it's grape.
Oh, it's 0 too.
Yeah, 0.
Right, we are getting old, sugar-free type thing.
Next time we bring you on, I'm sure that the bobblehead collection will be doubled up there, and we appreciate it again. So the big league lender, Steve Kent, on the Past Our Prime show. Appreciate you coming on, man. I know we were trying to schedule it almost for like 2 months because we kept on bringing different guys. So I'm glad we were able to catch up with you and teach us a lesson or two.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching it. You guys do a great job. Keep it up. And,
You got it.
If there's anything I can do to help with that refinance, let me know.
There
And
you
the
go,
bats.
Steve.
I'm going to order
Always
some
sell
bats
it.
from you.
Always sell
Always
it.
ABC, Steve. Always be close.
Always be safe. Exactly.
All right, man. We'll
All
catch
right,
you later.
guys.
See ya.
Later,
Thanks.
buddy.
Appreciate it. Later.
All right, see ya.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.